All right, let's go ahead and get started. Well, welcome to our coffee break update. Today is November 20th. Glad you can all join us today. And as always, let's introduce our MC this morning. We have Marshall Hafarov, the communication specialist with the Mojave Desert AQMD and the chair of the board of the Hesperia Chamber. Good morning, Marshall.
Good morning, Mark, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As always, we are here for our every 2 weeks coffee break update, and we have, of course, as always, a packed presentation for you today. We also have a special presentation towards the end of our time together here today. We will have with us the San Bernardino County Assessor-Recorder and County Clerk, Bob Dutton. He will be here to speak about assessed valuations and Prop 19. But we have a slew of other things to get to before that, so we will do that. Before I get to that, I want to introduce to you, of course, one of my partners in crime, one of the board members for the Hesperia Chamber of Commerce and executive pastor with the Victor Valley Christian Church, Neil Harris. Neil, I would say good morning, but Mark said yesterday in a text that we have to cut back on the comedy. So I can't say hi to you because every time you say hi, it's hilarious.
Then in that case, greetings to you and everybody. Good morning.
Well done. Hey. That was not funny at all, so good job. And if you have any questions this morning for any of our presenters, please direct them using the chat function to Neil, directly to Neil, and then as time allows, we will get those questions to the presenters, and if we can get you answers, we will do that. So we will start. Mark, where are we starting right now?
Where are we starting?
Yeah, are we starting with, we have a sponsor.
Yes, we do, and the sponsor is here.
Okay, great. So we have sponsors. We are fortunate to have sponsors for our coffee break update every time we come to you. If you are interested in being a sponsor, please contact Double O CEO Mark Creffield, and he will tell you how to be a sponsor of our coffee break update. And we will start by introducing you to our first sponsor, Grand Canyon University. And here to talk about Grand Canyon University is Rosita Smoleniski. Good morning, Rosita.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having an amazing Friday. I'm excited it's Friday. It's been quite a week. With that said, I haven't had the opportunity to really tell you guys, but we did partner up with the Victor Valley Chamber, and partnering up gives a lot of benefits. I would love to talk to you guys about all of those benefits, but there's not enough time. One of the biggest benefits is there's a 10% scholarship for all Victor Valley Chamber members, anyone wanting to go back to school, whether that's for a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctorate degree. So take advantage of that. And if you're interested in knowing more details about that, give me a call and I would love to chat with you. As you could see, my information, I'm so sorry, they forgot I was in the meeting. As you can see, there's a lot of love in our home. Sorry about that, guys. We forgot we're like, it's the real world here in the Zoom thing. With that said, you can see my contact information's up there. Please take a picture of it, contact me directly. But what I really wanted to talk to you about, and I know it's the 20th of November, but we do still have 10 days left in November, and we have this amazing scholarship. As a counselor, I'm not privy to knowing what the scholarships are for December and January. I should be, but I argue that all day long, but I don't. However, I have an amazing scholarship going on right now for the last 10 days we have left in November for anyone. So if you guys know anyone wanting to start a bachelor's degree, any bachelor's degree under any of my colleges, there's a 25% scholarship. I've never seen GCU do this in all these years. It's an amazing scholarship. I would love for everyone able to take advantage of that, opportunity. I also, for the month of November, have a 15% scholarship for anyone wanting to go back for their graduate degree, for their master's degree. So again, take down my information. If it's for yourself or someone you know, please have them reach out to me. There's 10 days left in November, and I would love that to be used to its maximum. And that's pretty much it.
Great, thank you so much. Yes, absolutely take advantage of that. That's a great deal. And it's good to have Grand Canyon University sponsoring our coffee break update. So thank you for that. We appreciate it as always. And we appreciate everyone joining us this morning. I'm checking out our chat box this morning. If you don't have that up.
See my microphone, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Great, thank you. So if you don't have the chat box up, you might want to pull that up. There's other conversation, of course, going on there as well. I saw Casey Armstrong said it is gorgeous outside this morning, and it absolutely is. So after we're done here this morning, I encourage you to get outside and take a look. It is a gorgeous morning in the high desert. And it is a gorgeous morning in Hesperia because I came from there on my way to work. And to talk about the City of Hesperia, as always, is the mayor of the City of Hesperia, Larry Bird. Good morning, Larry. Larry, you got to unmute.
All right, and I also have to get my notes here. So filibuster for me there, would you?
Well, as I was saying, it's a gorgeous morning in Hesperia. I'm not sure where you are in Hesperia this morning. You can go ahead.
Yes, I am in lovely Hesperia today. So good morning to everyone, and I have some exciting opportunities for everyone. So we are doing some real close scrutiny of what we would like to do with our I Avenue corridor enhancement plan. So on December 2nd at 6 p.m., we'll have our third virtual community workshop for the Hesperia I Avenue corridor enhancement plan. So even if you're a business or a resident that doesn't live on that street, which goes from Bear Valley all the way to Ranchero, you know that that affects your lives in so many different ways. And so please make sure that you take part in this. As part of this project, consultants are conducting an analysis of the corridor to evaluate existing conditions and determine how to best leverage improvements that will benefit the entire community, including motorists, bicyclists, and pedestrians along the corridor. We invite all community stakeholders to take an active role in shaping the future of the I Avenue corridor by participating in this workshop. Please visit the city's website to register. So we'd love to have you be a part of that. Also, the American Red Cross will be hosting a blood drive on December 10th from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at the Hesperia Branch Library. For a limited time, they will test all blood, platelet, and plasma donations for COVID-19 antibodies. So that's another opportunity. You can give blood, but also find out if you have either had it or if you have antibodies in your system. Appointments are required to help maintain social distancing. So that's December 10th. With the American Red Cross. If you'd like to be a part of that, additional information is available on the city's website. As a reminder, city offices will be closed next Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving, and we are not going to give you any regulations on who you can and cannot be a part, enjoy this wonderful holiday with. But on behalf of the City of Hesperia, myself and my family, I'd like to wish you a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And especially in the midst of these difficult times, we have so much to be thankful for. And what I am thankful for and what we are thankful for is what we're doing right now with you wonderful businesses and people in our community. Thank you for all you do. Thanks for hanging in there. And if there are any things that we can do to help make your life better, please let us know here at the city. We'd love to do that. We're going to be as the least amount of being onerous as we can, because we know that you're putting food on your table, and we really appreciate the difficulties that many folks are having. So we support you, we're with you, and we hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you, Mayor Bird. Yeah, same to you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well. And it's funny that you say that. Mark Creffield, just before we brought everyone into the room, said that he forgets until we're here how much he misses getting to do this every 2 weeks. And it is always just a blast to be here. All joking aside, it's so cool to be with everybody. So thank you for pointing that out. And thank you for all that information, things going on in the city of Hesperia. Neil, do we have any questions for Mayor Bird?
There are a litany of questions. I'm actually overloaded with questions, but because of our time constraints this week, Mark's told me I'm not allowed to ask any of them. So we're just going to move on.
Come on, Neil.
There's no questions for Larry Bird. No as always, Larry does a great job, and there's no questions.
Thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mayor Bird, and thank you for that for the city of Hesperia. And now we want to introduce to you another sponsor this week for a coffee break update, the Don Foresi Charitable Foundation. And here to talk about the Don Foresi Charitable Foundation is Dan Tate. Good morning, Dan.
There you go. Good morning, Marshall. How you doing?
We're well. Good to see you.
All right. It's good to be seen. Hey, everybody, we're in the middle of of raising money for Santa's sleigh. We go out and fulfill wish lists of local kids. You know, a long time ago, we made a decision, instead of doing a big toy drive and giving kids random toys, we go out to the local schools and foster care facilities, and we have them give us a wish, have them identify the kids. There's no application. We don't make them go through a lengthy process. And then we go out and shop and buy up to $125 worth of gifts for these kids. And it's absolutely a transforming, emotional, it's one of the most rewarding things that I've been involved in, seeing these kids and the parents' reaction that somebody cared enough to go out and buy these gifts, wrap them. And then we have a big day where they come see Santa and the elves. And unfortunately, this year, we're gonna have to do drive-by Santa. So we have a drive-through giveaway this year, but we still have 250 kids. Half of them are foster kids and half are from our local schools. The flyer you see right here, Brent PAYNE is a nationally accredited recording artist. He's got a number of awards. This guy is phenomenal. He's played for us before. He's going to come out on December 5th in Hesperia. Close your ears, Mayor Bird, please. He's going to come out and do a concert for us to raise money. 100% of the proceeds are going to help buy gifts. So we'd appreciate any of your help by attending. If you want to sponsor a kid, either by shopping for them or donate $125, we can use all the help you can get. You can always reach me on my cell phone number at 760-964-4976. And I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Marshall.
Absolutely. And we appreciate the sponsorship, and thank you for sharing that information. And it looks like Larry jumped off the call already, Dan, so I think you're safe. So all is good. Thank you so much for that. And thank you once again to the John Ferresi Charitable Foundation for sponsoring this morning's coffee break update. It helps us bring this presentation to you and all of our updates. And speaking of updates, we'll get to our next update from the City of Victorville. We have Public Information Officer Sue Jones. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Pleased to have this opportunity to give an update. I will share some kind of down news, unfortunately. We do meet with the county JIC. It's the information center with the county. All the PIOs from the different cities meet every Thursday, and we get updates on the situation related to COVID. And just like you're seeing in the news, we are experiencing some tremendous spikes here in the county. And what's happening is our spikes and all of our trends are higher than they ever have been. So there is a serious situation going on in our community, and everyone should try to take precautions to limit their exposure for their own safety, the safety of others in our community, and for our businesses, because we don't want to be in a situation where we're forced to close more of our businesses again and revert back to where we were. Just yesterday, the State Department of Public Health did issue a curfew. I don't know if you all got a chance to see that, but basically between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m., effective this Saturday, we are not supposed to be out gathering, mixing folks from different households, etc. What this means for our local businesses, and we're going to have to see if more direction comes out about that. But I think all of us can do our part to try to be responsible right now. The contact tracing that's done related to positive COVID cases are showing that it is private gatherings of family members and friends is where folks are actually catching COVID and then spreading it to one another. I know it's very difficult right now during the holidays to have to face some tough decisions, but it really is in our hands to be responsible. Our actions do matter. Today, if you would like to go get COVID tested and to get your flu shot, there is a free event at St. Joan of Arc down on 6th Street. And that event will be going on from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you could go get your free COVID testing as well as free flu shots. And to try to give our community ways to celebrate this season, but do it in a safe and responsible manner, the City of Victorville continues to put creative events together. On December 5th, we're going to have a Cars and Reels drive-in movie night for our community. And we will be showing The Grinch movie, and there'll be 2 showings, 5:30 and 8 o'clock. And folks will be invited to participate in this with a ticket only because space is limited. And we can only fit so many cars in the dirt lot across the street from Victorville City Hall. So right now we're conducting a ticket drawing, and you could go to our website at victorvilleca.gov/recreation, click on register for activities and search for cars, and the event will pop up, and you can register to win free tickets for this event. And again, I have to impress upon you, only ticket holders will be admitted to this event. And again, the event, well, I should say registration closes on November 23rd. Folks will be chosen. The tickets will be randomly selected on the 24th of November, and the event takes place on December 5th. And with that, I'll turn it back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Sue. I just put the URL in the chat box for everyone where to go to get to sign up for the ticket drawing for that event. And on a previous note, Sue, you know, I can't speak for anybody else, but 10 o'clock is past my bedtime. And also it's freezing outside at 10 o'clock. So that's an easy thing for me to do because I'll just stay inside where it's warm. If it drops below and my closest friends know this, if it drops below like 70 degrees, I have to bundle up because I'm freezing. So anyhow, thank you so much for that, Sue. Appreciate the update. Neil, do we have any questions for Sue in the city of Victorville?
We do not. Our city officials are on a roll this morning, just setting it up, knocking it down before people can even ask questions.
Absolutely. That's a great way to do things. So well done, Sue, and thank you for all of the information. Now we have some more information from our 00 CEO, Mark Creffield. He's the CEO of the Hesperia Chamber and the president and CEO of the Victor Valley Chamber of Commerce. And he has some update for us on chamber goings on and possibly some exciting announcements, Mark.
Yes, thank you, Marshall, for that wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it. Your enthusiasm is contagious as always. So, hey, welcome everybody. So great to see everybody. Just a real quick update from the Hesperia and Victor Valley Chamber. We do have our weekly e-blast that is still going out every Friday. It's an opportunity for you as a member if you would like to promote your business, even if you just want to have your website link. Please send that information to me always by the Thursday prior to that Friday blast. Next week, the blast will still go out on Friday. However, if you get your information to me by Wednesday, it will go out on that Friday. If you already have a flyer in this blast and you just want to swap it out, just send that to me and I'll go ahead and take care of that for you. The chambers have some exciting things coming up. On December 9th, the Victor Valley Chamber will host our annual Accolade Awards via Zoom. And the Hesperia Awards will be that Monday on December 14th via Zoom. Per tradition in the Hesperia Chamber, we always keep the award winners a surprise until the actual event, but I am going to announce today the Accolade Award winners for the Victor Valley Chamber of Commerce. Our Volunteer of the Year is Kathy Bordonero with Assistant League of Victor Valley. Most Inspirational Leader from A Greater Hope is Helena Lopez. Chamber Award of Excellence, Large Business, is the Victor Valley Wastewater Reclamation Authority. Chamber Award of Excellence, Small Business, Elementum Services. And our Spirit of Victor Valley is the Victor Valley College Foundation. So congratulations to those individuals and those businesses. They will be honored at our Accolade Award via Zoom on December 9th. But please also, when you get the invites, also attend the December 14th Hesperia Awards, where we'll unveil the surprise recipients of the winners there. And that's all I have, Marshall. I'm sure there's no questions, Neil. So let's get to the next speaker.
There's always a ton of questions, and we somehow manage to field them and answer them off air because they take a long time to answer and explain some of the things that you do. Anyhow, and what was the comment on the enthusiasm? Was that a rib? Was that a joke?
No.
Am I not enthusiastic?
There was no sarcasm in what I said at all, Marshall.
Okay, I'm just making sure because you said no comedy. So I want to make sure that there's nothing funny going on here. No funny business. Okay. Speaking of funny business, we have Doug Robertson from the town of Apple Valley. Hey, Doug.
Hey, good morning. So sometimes I wonder if it's just the four of us that are laughing at all this nonsense, all of the sarcasm. But anyway, so Marcia, you did say it's a gorgeous day, and I have to agree, as you can see behind me. It is a beautiful day. It surprised me, though, that as you were telling everyone to go outside after this meeting, you missed the opportunity to go outside and say, breathe in the clean air being provided to you by the Mojave Desert Air Quality Management District. So
I totally missed it. You're right.
Yeah, you did. You did. I was waiting for it, and then it didn't happen. So you already covered the information about the latest order from the state. So I'm not going to go into that, but I do have maybe it's more of a comment than anything else, but it does have a purpose. And that is, keep in mind, just because we share this official information from the state, it doesn't mean that we necessarily agree with it. The governor violating his own order, his own health order, did more damage to the credibility of his orders than anything he'll do right now to try to curb the spread, in my opinion. It was a terrible thing for him to do. But my message is, don't let that stop you from doing the right thing. The virus is real. It is here in the Valley in greater numbers than it ever has been. So, please, if you need to go out, wear a mask if you're going to be around anyone whatsoever. So I talked 2 weeks ago about the failure of Measure O, a sales tax that we put on the ballot. And we have started making a few cuts, just a few things that were kind of at a decision point, including our distance learning day camp. That was a subsidized program that never quite reached enough participation to cover its own costs. So we ended up pulling the plug at the end of next week, essentially. So it runs through Thanksgiving, and that's it. Similarly, we were getting ready to ramp up with the school district with an after-school program. It was very complicated because of COVID, and ultimately would have been in the same boat due to limits on the number of kids that would have been allowed in a single classroom to where it simply didn't pencil. So, and then finally, we will be closing our pool for winter after next week as well. And we're hoping to reopen for summer, but that's yet to be decided. So as the town council considers, ways to cut our budget to meet the funds that we have, we are going to be focused on mostly the 2021-22 budget. Certainly there could be some things that happen, before July, but the focus really is going to be on getting everything in line with the funding that we have to the extent of our abilities. We still don't know yet, what kind of impact COVID will have 6 or 7 months from now. Will the vaccine be out in enough quantity to start to reopen our businesses by then? We all hope so, but it'll make for another interesting budget year. So to help out with those decisions, the town council is going to consider forming a citizens advisory committee. They haven't decided to do it yet, but they are going to talk about it at their December 8th meeting. And this Citizens Advisory Committee, at least we believe, will review the proposed cuts and then continue to provide input as we consider any other options into the future, over the next year or so, if we need more cuts or perhaps make another attempt at a revenue enhancement. Some of the feedback that we got was, had it been specifically targeted for police only with the Citizens Advisory Committee, perhaps it would have done better. That's a different sort of election. So we'll be taking a look at that potentially in the future, depending on that input that we receive. So it is holiday season. Of course, all of us are going to be closed next Thursday, Friday for Thanksgiving. But the week after that, we are still going to have our tree lighting. But in the spirit of 2020, it will be a virtual tree lighting on December 1st. My crews are putting up our Christmas tree now, and families in Apple Valley are being invited to participate by bringing in a family ornament to be added to that tree. You can check out our Facebook page for more details on that. And I will cut it short so that we can continue on with the remainder of our program, gentlemen.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Doug. We appreciate it. Neil, do we have any questions for Doug and the town of Apple Valley?
We have no questions for Doug or the town of Apple Valley.
Well, hold on, Mark. Mark is raising. Are you raising your hand? You can just unmute and just start talking, right? You don't have to raise your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted
to take over.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to, I did forget something. I wanted to clarify. That was raising my hand. That wasn't applause for Doug's presentation.
I thought that was applause. That's how I took it.
Okay. Well, sorry, I made a mistake. I forgot something. And if I don't fix this, Ruby will be upset with me for the rest of the week. I wanted to mention that the Victor Valley Chamber and the Hesperia Chamber is doing a What's Brewing in Chamber Marketing seminar. That's going to be coming up on December 2nd from 12 to 1 p.m. It's basically utilizing your chamber account to its fullest, a step-by-step instruction on how to create your member account and maximize your visibility and exposure for your business. There is a $5 charge to attend, but again, this is open to our Hesperia and Victor Valley Chamber members. So the email has gone out and it will go out another time before this event. So again, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Mark. And you can, of course, contact Ruby for more information on that. And also want to say, don't miss my opportunity to say thank you to Doug and the town of Apple Valley for that information. We appreciate all of your information as always. And now we have our special presentation, as we told you about at the start of our presentation today. So we want to welcome into our coffee break update the San Bernardino County Assessor, Recorder, and County Clerk, Bob Dutton, and he's going to be speaking with us this morning on assessed valuations and Prop 19. Good morning, Bob. Hey, Bob, if you could unmute your audio.
Okay, how about now?
There we go. Good morning.
Okay. Well, good morning, and how is everybody?
We're great. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, I just wish I could be there in person, but I'll try to make this as informative as I possibly can. I will tell you one little note about the curfew tonight at 10 o'clock. One of the essential services is walking your dog. So if you're going to go out after 10, make sure you bring your dog. Okay? They'll let you do that. Any case, what I'm going to try to do with this presentation very quickly, some of you may have already heard portions of this. I want to kind of let everybody kind of know what the assessor's office is and what it's not. And so I'm going to do a brief history. We'll also talk about some assessment data. And then, of course, we don't have to worry about Proposition 15 and its effect, but we'll talk a little bit about Proposition 19 and some of the challenges we're going to have in administering Proposition 19. Now, to give you a little history, property taxes have been levied since the beginning of civilization. In ancient Egypt, assessors were known as scribes. Scribes kept records for the pharaoh about who owned the land, the size of their fields, and the amount of their livestock. They were also very good at collecting money, so quite commonly they were also the tax collector as well as the assessor. And they were held in very high esteem by the pharaoh. As a matter of fact, when the pharaoh died, usually it was quite common for an entire staff to be buried alive with the pharaoh to serve them on their journey after life. Well, that was all except for the assessor. And the reason why is because the assessor knew too much. And the new pharaoh, they needed to have the information that the assessor had, and they also needed to have tax revenues in order to provide services. So we go back 6,000 BC. I'm going to fast forward to California in 1850. California became a state. California Constitution provided that each county was to have a constitutionally elected county assessor, district attorney, sheriff, and a local governing body, like a city council or board of supervisors. In 1853, the California state legislature created the county of San Bernardino from what was formerly Los Angeles County, San Diego, and Mariposa counties. During the early years, the assessor covered the entire county by horseback, obviously, that was 1853, to determine the assessed value of all properties. The assessor during those days was also the superintendent of schools, the registrar of voters, and kept a list of all personnel or persons subject to military duty. Off to the right-hand side here is some pages out of the actual log from the assessor back in the 1860s, that little self-portrait he did of himself down there. He was kind of a doodler, and so a lot of times when he was doing livestock, he'd do little little pictures of cows and things like this, but that was a self-portrait of that particular assessor. San Bernardino County, as of today, my duties have been pretty much toned down to what the basic responsibilities are. And that is, I'm responsible for locating and identifying all taxable properties, establishing the assessed value of those properties, and completing both an annual and supplemental assessment role. Now, what I don't do, I don't send out tax bills, I don't collect taxes, and I have nothing to do with those little pesky assessment districts that show up on these on the property tax bills. This one here happens to be from my hometown of Rancho Cucamonga. This is a typical tax bill because we, after Prop 13 passed, a lot of cities had to resort to community facility districts and various assessment districts to provide maintenance services for their lighting districts, for all sorts of stuff. Plus, you also have school bonds and everything else that are also on these tax bills. And so during my presentation to the public, I usually encourage them not to call me about any of those items. That phone number is where they ought to be calling. It could be the city council or the city. It could be the fire district. It could be a school district. But I do direct them to there because I can't answer any questions they may have about the assessment districts or the bonds. Okay, in San Bernardino County, basically my office, I take on both the assessor and the recorder. The county charter was amended back in 2011, and they combined the offices of assessor and recorder. And once again, technically by California state law and the Constitution, only the assessor has to be elected. San Bernardino County, we also have other positions that are elected. But in the case of San Bernardino County, I am elected as the assessor-recorder. They then appoint me as the county clerk and also in charge of county archives. To give you a little brief update about the recorder activity, in 2019, we recorded over 489,000 documents. We had 110,000 customers that were served at the Hall of Records. That's our downtown, downtown San Bernardino office. We were averaging roughly 430 customers per day. We issued over 84,000 vital records. And we also issued over 15,000 fictitious business name statements, over 8,600 marriage licenses, and we performed over 3,000 marriage ceremonies. Give you a little assessment. Now, as I said before, one of our responsibilities is that we have to prepare the assessment roll on an annual basis. So we just completed that here just a couple months ago. We have to finish it by July 1st of each year. Now, the information that are on the tax bills today for the assessed value on property today is based on what happened in 2019. So we're always a year in the rears. So the 2020 values won't be reflected until next year's property tax bill. So what you're seeing now strictly has to do with activities up to January 1st of 2020. In the countywide, there's over 815,482 parcels, taxable parcels, and we had a value of over $247 billion. Countywide, we saw an increase in real estate values of 5.7%. And what I had prepared was a trend line that shows from 1978 to present. 1978, I picked that year because that was the year that Prop 13 was enacted by the voters. And as you can see, San Bernardino County's had a pretty good growth. You'll see there in 2009, that's when we had the spike that took place. What the big problem was, I talked to some of the big builders of San Bernardino County, there was just too much flipping of real estate that was taking place. People were buying properties on spec. The lending rules were very liberal, and so it just created a perfect storm. And so what we did is we just had an oversupply of product and not enough buyers, and so we saw the collapse take place. The dot-com industry took a dump, and then that just had a domino effect. It also affected real estate values. As you all know, in the high desert, it was hit harder. In San Bernardino County, the high desert was hit harder than anywhere else in the county. Now we have for the city, I broke it down to some of the cities. And by the way, all this information can be obtained on our website, and that's at sbcountyarc.org. And it's there at the bottom of this slide here. But any of this information I'm giving you right now, you can find that on our website. The city of Orlando had an 8.4% increase, over a $2.4 billion of property value. And you can see where they also suffered some areas in 2009. That's when the decline started. Then they started climbing out of that in 2015. And of course, they had just a little bit of a spike took place. I think that might have something to do with the cannabis industry and some of the rezoning they did on some of the properties there, which resulted in immediate impact on land values in some of their city. This one here is for the city of Apple Valley. City of Apple Valley had a 5.9% increase. They also saw the same decline as everybody else did in starting in 2009 to 10, but they started recovering a little bit quicker. We indicated a value of over $6.5 billion for 2019. And then we also have the City of Hesperia, 6.6% increase, $6.8 billion, same type of trend as you can see, where they were in 2000, started declining in 2009, and they started recovering in the 2014 area. And then we have here the City of Victorville, which has 6.3% increase and 9.7. And you might notice that the county is the area, high desert as a whole, percentage-wise, experienced a higher increase than the county as a whole. Now, this information, as I said before, all this information is available on our website. And matter of fact, you can go back and even get prior year's information. The other thing that's available on that website, and I didn't take time this morning to talk about it, but I'm also in charge of archives. We have our Throwback Thursday video series. We're doing the historical record of San Bernardino County. We've got about 150 tapes back there, videos of different things about San Bernardino County. We have about the Camel Brigade that used to operate out the high desert. We also talk about there was a border collie that used to deliver mail in the mining claims, mining camps up in the desert area. And so we got a bunch of interesting things. We also talk about the early beginnings of a lot of the cities of San Bernardino County. Now let's talk about Proposition 19, because I've got a lot of questions that came up on that. Proposition 19 changes the tax laws for some Californians. It'll basically change it when they sell their home and move into another home, or they are inheriting homes and rental properties from parents and grandparents. The measure also creates new funds dedicated to preventing and fighting wildfires and for assisting counties who lost property tax revenue. Who will benefit from Proposition 19? Homeowners over the age of 55 or severely disabled residents and people whose properties have been damaged by a disaster. And it'll take effect when the new rules for transfer of inherited property will be February 16, 2021. There will also be new rules for transfer of base year values April 1st, 2021. Now, when I say we've got new rules, that's because the regulators in Sacramento have to figure out how all this fits in with a lot of the other measures that are currently in place. This measure will not apply retroactive to properties that have already been transferred between family members, and transfers prior to the effective dates would fall under the current laws. A transfer base year value equal or lesser value, and that's what the transferring of the base year value requires it to be of equal or lesser value. Eligible California homeowners will now be able to transfer base year value of property equal to or lesser to any county up to 3 times. Now, currently, San Bernardino County was one of the counties that opted, and there was like 13 or 14 counties where you could have done it already under Proposition 60 and 90. But this now will make it so that this can happen no matter where you live. And so has some advantages. That's one of the reasons I think the realtors were really big on this one. But there are some problems that are going to happen, and I'll talk a little bit about those. It will allow eligible Californians to move into a more expensive home with a higher combined assessment, but not necessarily at market value. And give you an example, let's say you were a longtime homeowner who sells a property for $400,000 with a $100,000 tax assessment, which means you probably owned it for probably 25, 30 years. They move into a $600,000 condo. The new assessment will be based on the difference between the condo purchase price and the sales price of their own home, which the difference would be the sales price of your old home is $400,000. The new home was bought for $200,000 or for $600,000, so the difference is $200,000. That would be added to your original basis, and the new tax basis for that $600,000 condo then would be $300,000. I'm very familiar with this because when I was a state senator, I actually tried to run a bill identical to this with this provision in it to allow people to be able to transfer their bases and only get reassessed for the difference between what they sell their existing home for and what they bought the new home for, but I couldn't get it out of the first committee. And now there are some changes that will take place, and this is under Proposition 58 and 193 that are currently in existence. Inherited vacation or rental properties from parents and grandparents will be reassessed at market value when ownership changes. When the inherited property is used as the recipient's principal residence, but is sold for $1 million more than the property's current assessed value, an upward adjustment of the assessed value will occur for the additional value, and that's the value over $1 million. So it's basically a $1 million exemption. In Proposition 19, there are some questions, right now the California Assessors Association, and I'm part of the ad hoc committee that is looking at some of the effects of this, because what happens when the propositions pass, there's a couple ways they get on the ballot. It can be put on the ballot by the legislature, and if that's the case, then voted on by the people. When there's mistakes or errors or things that didn't get covered, or with those kinds of propositions, then the legislature can fix it. Unfortunately, because this was done by an initiative process by the people, we can't fix things in here. And sometimes they can have the law of unintended consequences may come into play. And I'll explain a little bit about that. Now, Proposition 19 says you can have 3 transfer limit applies to married couples or each spouse. And so we don't know if in divorce situations what happens, there's some questions. So that has to be clarified. Also, because now, right now, there's like 13 counties, I believe, that have this agreement that they'll accept the base year value from another county. So we basically kind of touch bases with each other. But if you're going to open this up statewide, there needs to be some kind of a statewide database with the Board of Equalization to keep track of these transfers, because the counties we aren't going to be able to do it. And then the other question is what do you do with homeowners exemptions? Some people feel, Prop 13 didn't exactly address the homeowners exemption. This makes reference to it. When you take a homeowners exemption off of it, you can't transfer properties that don't have a homeowners exemption. That's one of the additional clarifications that we need to have regarding how we deal with those. And there's also some other problems about how do you track a homeowners exemption. There's been court cases that says we can't request somebody's Social Security number, which used to be the way that we would track homeowners exemptions. The BOE is supposed to keep that information, but they really don't do it. And I've been told by our attorneys that if somebody doesn't want to give us the Social Security number for their homeowners exemption, then we just put not applicable on the form, and they still get granted their homeowners exemption. So now what's going to happen with all that? There's just a lot of different types of problems. And these questions are going to require legislative fixes in some cases, but in other cases, they may not be able to. It may have to go back to the ballot to get fixed. That's the danger when you do initiatives by the ballot, through the ballot, or initiatives by the initiative process, when you propositions that way. So there will be some potential legal issues that are going to come up. We don't know exactly what all they are yet, but we're currently working on it. And I can just tell you, my attitude has always been, and my instructions to the staff at the Assessor and Recorder's office, the benefit of the doubt will always go to the taxpayer, period. So, well, that's all I have for you this morning. I'll be more than happy. This is only my second time doing a Zoom presentation, so I'm not sure how this is all. I don't like it when I'm not I can only look at like 4 or 5 of you on my screen here at times, because I usually look for public reaction. But in any case, I hope you found this informative. Like I said, you might want to check out our Throwback Thursday series for those videos we're doing on San Bernardino County. We find that they're really into it. People really are well received. And as I have in the past for all the cities that are there, I'll be more than happy when we finally get out of this little challenge we're in right now. I'll be more than happy to come to your city council meetings and make a presentation, for the public there at your meetings. Once we finally can go live again, whenever the heck that may be.
Yeah,
anyway, right. Stay healthy, everybody.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. I do have to point out that I absolutely love those weekly videos, the throwback videos. In fact, and most of my family, my dad is on this call, but for the most part, not much of none of my family comes to these because they are busy with other things on Friday mornings. But so I take those little video snippets, the little pieces of trivia, and then I just whip them out, as kind of like a know-it-all, like, oh yeah, did you know this about the 15, or did you know? So I appreciate that, because the videos have made me sound a lot smarter than I really am. So thank you for that.
Well, I did it for a couple of different reasons. I was in real estate here in San Bernardino County for over 50 years, and I was always big about trying to promote the county, and certainly serving on a city council in Rancho Cucamonga, and doing what I did about going to some of the trade shows and things like this. And I always felt this was a good way of actually promoting and advertising San Bernardino County as well. And one of the other things we found that during this crisis, this health crisis we're currently under, we have found that a lot of our educators, teachers, have been using it for some of their homeschooling video, because they use our videos for lesson plans and things for the kids too. So it's been really enjoyable to do.
Yeah, I've heard that same thing, and from a professional perspective, I work for the Mojave Desert Air Quality Management District, and we reach a very large portion of San Bernardino County, and so we will occasionally share those videos out on social media, because sure. They apply to such a wide range of our residents, our communities. So thank you for those, and thank you for all the information. Absolutely, deeply appreciate it. Neil, by chance, do we have any questions for the assessor?
You know what? I didn't see any. I was actually just scanning back through. So if anybody had a question, it got lost in the chat, shoot it back to me really quick. But I don't think we did.
We do have a pretty fun discussion, Bob, and going on in the chat about those very videos. Casey Armstrong and Doug Robertson from the town of Bath Valley, they're talking about the lava tubes out off of I-40. People seem to love them. So they have a good response for sure, a strong following. So well done on that.
Well, what we're going to be doing, just so you know what I do, I'm with I'm with the California Assessors Association. I'm on their ledge committee. And in addition to the lobbyists that the cities have and the county has, well, I also have a dedicated staff person that helps me monitor the legislation. Now, I obviously know how legislation works because I spent 10 years as a legislator in Sacramento. But so I do monitor that. And there's about 500 or 600 bills every year that has something to do with the assessor's office or the recorder's office. And so I do get actively engaged in these things. I sometimes can't necessarily, from a public policy standpoint, I may not agree with them, but normally I will take a look at them from an administrative standpoint and try to point out some of the fallacy that some of the legislators are looking at, because I don't know exactly what's going to happen this next year. I personally have pushed them to give me more flexibility on disabled veterans exemptions. Right now, you have to be 100%. I've actually asked some legislators to consider a bill that would give me the ability, if somebody's 50% or more, to at least give them half of it. And so I've looked at some ways to do things like that. I'd like to see a small business exemption on their business property statements of like $500,000 if I could get them to do it, because I just don't. That's just not a lot of money when you in the total scope of things. But the small businesses, that is money for them, and so. And I just don't think this. I think it costs us more to go after to try to collect the taxes on that much business property. I don't think we really get a return of the dollars. It costs us more money to go out and bill it than it does to actually than what with money we actually get. So I'm trying to look at some common sense solutions like that. But if you ever have somebody who's got questions, or I really want to make sure that people who live and work and have businesses here in San Bernardino County feel like they've been treated fairly. And yeah, I do have my hands tied sometimes because of state law, but I at least want to make sure they feel like they were treated fairly and we listen to them. So if you ever have anybody, any member of any chamber, that's one of the reasons why I joined every chamber in the state, in San Bernardino County as a member. It wasn't to get involved in your local chamber politics, but it was to show my support for the small business communities of our county. And so I'm reachable. Just let me know if somebody feels like I need to look at something or reconsider something. That's what we're here for.
That's great to hear. We appreciate that. We will reach out to you. And like you said previously, once we can get back into meeting in person and all that, and some of this stuff is behind us, we'd love to have you back and hear more information. That'd be great.
All right.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you so.
Everybody stay healthy and be prosperous.
Absolutely. You do the same. Thank you so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving next week. And I want to say thank you to everybody joining us on the call this morning. Thank you for your sponsorship to Grand Canyon University and the Don Feresi Charitable Foundation. And thank you to the City of Hesperia, City of Victorville, and the Town of Apple Valley for your reports, and Mark Creffield for the information on the goings on in the Chamber of Commerce. And thank you to everybody for attending this morning. It's good, as always, to see everybody's faces. And I think we're going to give you the power to unmute yourself and to say your goodbyes. But I want to say, wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Please stay safe and healthy. And we will see you. We'll see you once again on December 4th for our next coffee break update. And stay safe. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Miss everyone. They turn it off.